it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my May reading wrap-up. It was just May, right? So in May I was quite busy. I had all my finals and such, and then I had BEA and book counter afterwards. So I was pretty optimistic with my TBR going into May, but I wasn't really confident that I was going to achieve said TBR. However, now that we've concluded May, I'm pretty proud with what I read. I think I did a pretty good job. So let's go ahead and check back in with my May TBR and see what I had hoped to read and what I actually ended up reading. As you can see, out of those 8 books, I got to 5 of them. So the first book I picked up this month was Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. In this novel, we follow 2 best friends, Sloane and Emily. And at the beginning of their summer, Sloane goes missing and Emily really has no idea what is going on. And then one day she gets a letter in the mail from Sloane with a list of 13 items. Emily has this idea that if she completes all 13 items, she'll be able to find Sloane. This book follows Emily tries to complete this list of dares. They're very much things that get her really outside of her comfort zone, and in doing so she starts to meet new people and make new friends. I thought it was a really great exploration into what happens when you lose your best friend and how you deal with that and how you make new friends and how those friends become relationships or how they can be tested by decisions that you make that maybe they don't agree with and then the fallout because of that. It's a really true representation of friendships. I thought it to be very realistic and relatable. Just was a little bit hard for me to get into in the beginning. The beginning of the book was very not slow, but just a smidge. Once she gets the letter, things start to pick up a little bit. I really ended up completely loving this book in the end. Next book I picked up was Sweet Temptation by Wendy Higgins, and I gave this book a glowing 5 out of 5 stars. Loved it so much. This is the entire Sweet trilogy retold from the main male protagonist Kaiden's point of view. Really, it highlights very pivotal scenes in the Sweet Evil trilogy, but just from his perspective, as well as some scenes that we don't see because the original trilogy is told from Anna's point of view. We get to see a little bit more behind the scenes of the Nephilim culture and whatnot. Let me tell you, the love for Kaiden. Oh, if you've watched my April wrap-up, you know my love for Kaiden is deep and true. And I thought it was as deep as it could go, but no. It could go deeper. He's like a little sweet little sugar roll muffin and I just love him so much. You really see some crazy character growth and character development, and to see where Kai was at the beginning of the series and where he ends up being at the end is mind-blowing. This book actually made me cry. There are 3 books that I can remember in my life that have made me actually ugly cry. Tears down my cheek, and 2 of them happened in 1 week this month. This was the first one. The love and the commitment and the unselfish love that Kaiden and Anna have for each other was so beautiful that I cried because of it. If you've read the original Sweet trilogy and you have not picked this up and you are just as much a fan of Kai as me, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, and you will totally love this. Also, because Kai is the son of the Duke of Lust, his perspective was a little bit raunchier and dirtier than Anna's. It was like being in a boy's head, but like on level 1000. And then after I read that, I jumped right into the second book. Well, the second of 3 books that's ever made me cry, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and I actually buddy read this with Trina from between chapters. We discussed this book for 2.5 weeks. 5 out of 5 stars. 7 out of 5 stars. 100 billion out of 5 stars. I love it. I love it. This is the second book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. I did an entire book talk on the first one, so I will link that if you would like to watch it. I plan to do an entire book talk on this one as well, so that should be coming within the next month. I loved the first one so much. This one I loved even more. This one is a loose retelling on Hades and Persephone. I'm not really as familiar with that myth. I don't know how much of this is really true to the Greek myth, but there were definitely elements in here where I could be like, that is Hades and Persephone. I know the series is getting a lot of conflicting feelings and there's a lot of hatred towards those who read it as well as the series itself. Please don't hate me, but I loved it and I'm not sorry for it. Literally everything that I wanted to happen after the end of book 1 happened in this book. Everything. Things that I didn't even know I wanted to happen happened. There's kind of like this shift in the pacing of the story, similar to like Crown of Midnight versus Heir of Fire. The pacing slows down a little bit. It becomes a little bit more character driven. It's not as much action and in your face because a lot of things happen in ACOTAR. I also thought that Feyre was a much stronger narrator. I thought that she really owned it by the end. She was fierce and on fire. And Rhys is my precious baby. I will protect him forever. I'm having a really hard time coherently stating my feelings for this book because all I want to tell you is how much I love Rhys and everything else.
I love you always, forever, near and far, closer together everywhere. I will be with you, everything I do is for you. I love you always, forever, near and far, closer together everywhere. I will be with you, everything I do is for you.
So the next book I picked up after that was The Crown by Kiera Cass, and I gave this a 3.5 to 4 stars, somewhere around there. I'm not 100% sure on my definitive rating for this book because I have very mixed feelings about it. I didn't like this installment as much as I liked the original trilogy. In the original trilogy, we're focused really heavily on the selection, and there's also some undertones of dystopian involved in it too. There's very little undertones of dystopia. Also very little about the selection. Like, we don't really see a lot of the boys. Adolin is so focused on being the next queen, which is good if you're a queen. I mean, you want to be the best for your people, but she's running the selection and she really didn't care about the selection, and I, as a reader, felt that. She was really ambivalent about the boys. She didn't really have any real feelings. And then in this book, we get this light bulb moment of realization, like, I know who I love. And I hate when books do that. It just came out of nowhere. The building of the relationship was like super weak. We find out who she really likes like 100 pages from the end of the book. And the book is only 275 pages. So we have 100 pages to create emotional tension, and then it's resolved very quickly. It was so much more focused on Adolin and the politics of Ilia and her family and what the people think of her and how her family thinks of her. It wasn't really focused on the boys, which is why I liked the selection series. So yes, although it was very quick read, these books are just like laced with some type of attention grabbing drug. Like, it's cocaine, mac and cheese. That does not sound like a good combination, but it kind of is accurate. It wasn't as strong, in my opinion, as the one. But the cover's super pretty. And then the very last book I read this month, The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan, which is the first book in the Trials of Apollo series, which is the next installment to the Percy Jackson Greek Gods Roman mythology saga. Yeah, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. So this 5-book series follows Apollo, who made some decisions in the Heroes of Olympus series. Zeus punishes him by making him a mortal 16-year-old boy. And the way Apollo reacts to being mortal is hilarious. He still expects to be treated and honored like a god, but he doesn't understand anything about being a human boy, like nothing. Because of that, he's hilarious. It's a different kind of hilarity from both Leo and Percy. I thought it was very appropriate for Apollo. We do get to see some of our old friends from the other 10 books. It's very unique and different, and it kind of ties into different things that have happened in the previous books. I'm glad there's 5 of them because 3 would not have been enough. These were the 5 books. Whoa. I almost like threw them over my shoulder like a continental soldier. Do your ears? Books hang low. So these were the 5 books that I got to this month. So if you've read any of these books, I'd love to know what your thoughts were on them in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you very soon. Bye!